Imagine a life where you never had to recharge, where you weren't running on fumes and you didn't have to sleep in because you stayed up too late and you felt terrible because you drank too much. Imagine a world you were so disciplined, so committed that you were just in this continual state of energy every single day of your life. It is possible. Welcome to Bill with Rob. It is your boy Rob Dyrdek. We're going way out on a limb here today. We're gonna be pushing everything into the fantasy level of life. We're gonna take everything to a level of discipline, consistency, and commitment to life mastery, to where you could push yourself to the point where every day is an amazing day. Every day you feel extraordinary. Every single day you are clear on what you're going to do that day, and you feel the healthiest you've ever felt. You feel the most clear you've ever felt. You know exactly what you're doing that day. You know why you're doing it that day, and you can't wait to get up and do it. And then you do it all day. And then in the evening, you wind down and think, man, how extraordinary. Let me get another great night's sleep so I can do it all over again. Seems impossible. But it's not. It's not. And to me, it is what I would consider my, continual motivation and push for me personally. Is I know that is a way of life and a way of living that I am on the cusp of making it to, and it's beyond just, simply looking at your life through the lens of, I take care of myself and, I've hit my goals and live in balance and live in harmonious, as I say, it's beyond that. It is a further, deeper layer of discipline that allows you to get to a place where you are in a deep, perpetual state of energy, and it requires a lot, right? And you don't just, do it, you don't just all of a sudden just do it. You can do it for a short period, right? That's, when you get motivated to be disciplined, and then you commit to a super clean diet and not drinking and getting getting consistent sleep, and then what that does to compound to your decisions, and then your ability to think on deeper levels that allows you to get more done and be more proactive. That's sort of how the whole thing works together. But boy, oh boy, if you can do it for big stretches, it can be life-changing. And it can just be to the point where there is no such thing as recovery, and, I have been on a stretch here of, a little over 5 weeks of just hyper discipline. Now this, for me, really, really, deep discipline starts first with diet, and, I haven't had, alcohol, sugar, snack. I haven't had anything. I have only put in my body, lean proteins and vegetables and supplements and some coffee, for nearly 6 weeks, and it's, the results of it are extraordinary, at least for me as someone who is in this, highly tuned, highly optimized existence. Man, when you go into the next gear and you really, think about everything that you put into your body, it then affects how you sleep. and it affects how committed you are to every aspect of your health. So what happens in that time frame? I've missed no supplements, I've never missed meditation, I've never missed time in the gym. I've added additional things of meditating more, adding red light therapy and infrared sauna therapy at the same time to go along with getting in the gym. It's like you end up going layers and layers deeper in what you can execute, which in turn drives up the sleep scores, which in turn drives up my qualitative scores of how I feel about my overall life. And I can tell you from being so deeply committed for this period of deep discipline, I've never been happier. I've just never been happier. And, it's this idea of when you experience life through this lens of, being super healthy, getting great sleep, being so much clearer. So all your decisions and even the way that you react to everything is so much more controlled, and you're beginning to see things that you can proactively get ahead of and jump on top of in order to continue to maintain that energy. And, in my case, it's put together bigger visions for stuff that we're doing at the Dyrdek machine and stuff that I'm doing with the family office and our venture side and our brand side and media side, and looking at how all that integrates together and the vision that I have for 2023 and beyond to scale it, and then being able to continually add and optimize new parts of different things I want to add to my health, the time and the quality of time that I spend with my wife and children. Like, when I connect it all together now, like, it is the best 6-week stretch of my life that I can remember. And it is because it feels like every bit of my life is filled with rich energy, being lived to the fullest. I'm not reacting to anything. I am proactively creating solutions. And again, I've referred to it as sort of this magnetic mind state where you're attracting the answers to questions before you ever had them. This is this incredible energy that you can achieve when all of your systems are working together in a harmonious state, and then you commit to being highly disciplined in order to get them to a high vibrating next level of efficiency. And to me, wow, it's like, what a way to live. And I know what you're saying is it's just not possible. It's just not possible. And I would have said the same thing, 5 years ago. Shoot, I probably could have said the same thing, even earlier this year. Don't forget, I had a slump month in August. You know what I mean? I had a slump month in August, and I really began to kind of look at my year and look at what were the things that kind of get you to slide a little bit and push you off of being super disciplined. And I realized that it was dabbling in discipline that would always get me. Any time you give yourself outs, where it's like, oh, I'm going to, eat clean 4 days a week. I'm going to, work out 3 days a week. I'm going, whatever it may be. I really realized that when you dabble in discipline, that it just basically opens the gate for you to be able to slide and find some gray areas inside that, because being fully committed is always difficult at first, but over time gets easier and easier. And then eventually it becomes an entire way of being for yourself, and this sort of evolution into this level, for me is been many years in the making. I look at sort of my own personal journey into self-mastery as, like, I'm not reaching that, like, highest level until I, can really, really kill the paradigm that, like, eating certain foods is really living life, and being able to drink with my friends is really like letting go, and that's what life's all about, is having fun, right? Like, these are these constructs that I've been built around, that, like, I, just like you, have been like, oh, like, what type of life is it if you're just so militant, and it sounds like correct when you hear it like that. What type of life is it that it is so militant? But it's the opposite. It's like I've evolved to a place of, like, wow, like, I experiencing life with this type of energy, and then continually having breakthroughs, and continually making quick, decisive, intuitive decisions that are proactively pushing all aspects of my life along, that in turn is giving me even more energy, that's making me an overall happier person, that's making me a better father, husband, and boss, making me a better leader, like, all of these things that come along with it. And at the underside of it is I'm just happier. And it just feels like, man, what an amazing life that I get to live, that I get to continue to do, to all of these different things, and look at like the discipline you've been able to create, that's just turned into a way of feeling life at a much more higher level, right? And God, it feels amazing to be here. It feels amazing to be here, and I'm, I look at it as part of, like, my evolution and what I want to be as it relates to um, creating the philosophy that is the machine mindset, and this systematic approach to life, and ultimately, um, design, automating, and optimizing every bit of your existence towards this higher energetic, higher vibration, amazing consistency, is what I'm all about. So it's like I'm even more motivated to maintain this and sit at this level as an example of what is possible when you practice this over a very long period of time, that allows you to get here, and to me, I've been talking a lot about sort of realizing that it was the when I finally, like, realized I'm had chosen the path of mastering life rather than trying to get successful, that my life really began to change, and that sort of, continual growth and evolution into this ideal version of myself is at its core self mastery. But when that sort of, began to realize that, it just pushes me further to look at, like, okay, let's just think about, when do you feel the absolute best, right? And I would, say that I would feel my absolute best in these different pockets during the year, and they were normally associated with sort of being much more disciplined, and not drinking, and eating super clean, and getting more in a much deeper, consistent state, because you think about, your capacity, and if you got this mental energy and physical energy, the more you take care of yourself and let your physical system be as optimized as possible, you're just getting back more capacity to do more, and then when you look at it from your mental energy side, and then you're able to now take that physical energy and use it to be working more efficiently, creating clearer connections on the things that you need to do, and tying these things together, and getting the energy associated with the clarity of like your intention and your goals. Man, you get back what feels even more capacity to be able to do more, by just really focusing on being highly disciplined. And then at this stretch, the 6 week sort of zone, it's just it is um, a way that I don't know, like, when am I ever going to be able to walk away from this feeling? Like, why would I walk away from this feeling? For the first time in my life, it's like flipped on me, where it's just like, man, you feel so amazing every single day that it's like the idea of getting up and not feeling amazing again seems like it would just be too big of a sacrifice and such a waste of time to do that. And it's a new paradigm for me. It's a new paradigm for me as it relates to a shift in my perspective. Um, because it always, as you're going through and growing into becoming more and more disciplined over time, more and more consistent, you do get to a place where, like, you're still bumping in to the paradigms that you built your life off of, and ultimately these sort of core beliefs that you keep falling back into, and you reinforce them, by, even though, this is the very first year that I started the year off in my best shape, and my goal was to maintain it for the entire year. And even though I lost it a couple times in the year and was disappointed, it's still the best I've ever done as it relates to the consistency for an entire year of my life. So it's that continually getting better, but still, why would I still lose it? How could I still get caught and slide into just becoming like a little less healthy for a while, that then compounds to drinking a little bit more, and the next thing you know, it's like going out, having an amazing weekend, and boom, here you are. You're back to like, oh, I gotta refocus and get the energy again and like build it back up. It's the at this point, I'm looking at that and thinking to myself, like, man, why would you even want to go through it again? And then when I think about the long-term implications of like what I'm going to be able to achieve if I could stay at this state for not just another 6 weeks or 6 months, but 2, 3 years, 5 years. But really, why am I even putting that as a paradigm? How could I not want to feel this way if this was like literally the very best 40 days that I can remember having in my entire life, because of the depth of commitment that I have made to being so highly disciplined, to go along with an already deeply clear vision for what I want to achieve in the short term, long term, and legacy. How could I possibly argue with myself or give myself an out on why I wouldn't want to live in this state forever? And that is a product of, like, I always got to give myself an out. I always got to give myself an out because I looked at this level of commitment as something that, hey, it was really good for me and was a good output, but it's the first time that I have ever shifted to the other side of where it's like, this isn't even hard. This is actually easy. And it feels amazing. Why would I possibly put myself in a position not to feel amazing? What would be worth doing that? Um, and And to me, that is a level now where when you get to this level, like you just start looking at everything in sort of a different lens. When I look at food, I don't look at food as like, oh, um, what's the how great is this going to taste? Like I look at it, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna feel like when I'm done? What am I gonna feel like when I'm done? And that's just the lens that I look at it over this period. And then it shifts it. The perspective is different because you order it through the lens of like, how does it feel once you finished eating it? You know what I mean? Then it even stops you from overeating because it's like the moment you feel like you're getting stuffed, you stop, you know. And I can tell you right now, as someone who's trying to live to 114 years and 54 days and 1 million hours of experience, that the old Ikigai book will tell you that the Japanese path to becoming a super centurion is eating till you're 80% full. And like when I think about it through that lens of like, how am I going to feel when I'm done? You just don't want to push past that because you don't want to walk away feeling all full, you know. And again, this is this paradigm shift in me that I'm kind of sharing with you, as I'm sort of going through it, and will keep you updated ultimately on the depth and how long I'm able to stay committed. As I just gave myself an out again, but it feels absolutely incredible to be this disciplined for this amount of time. I'm just happier than I've ever been. I'm healthier than I've ever been. Like I am communicating better. Everything in my life is just better. And I don't ever want to leave this state. And as long as I stay in this state and continue to design and optimize my time and continue to push everything towards a probable better future state of joy and get better and better at that organizing my thoughts and creating plans and creating systems and living this harmonious, high quality life, this is the way to live it in a way that there is just never a point where I go through a high or low or need time to recharge or need to make some correction because I am now living in this deeply optimal state of true high energy harmony, where for me, true happiness for me exists. And at this point, I also want to be, an example of what is possible and what it's like to get to this level, and that it is possible to get here and live here and experience life in this rich, amazing way with very little effort because you yourself have mastered the machine as a whole. And it is providing you the ultimate energy and continual joy and fuel that is just experiencing life at an extraordinary level. And really, this is what I hoped that I could eventually reach. And now, my hope is that I could sit here and maintain this for an extended amount of time and ultimately, potentially, as I give myself an out, for the rest of my life, because this is an amazing feeling that I know ultimately everybody would want to get to as well. But of course, you know what it is. You gotta give it all you got. You have to even like look out into the future and be like, that is what I want. You got to put a vision to it, and you got to create a plan to even be able to organize all of that and create the pathway for that to happen. And then you have got to put in the effort and understand yourself and the energy it takes to get there, and you may just do it one day. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.